This is one of those projects that all of our stakeholders really found an interest in. Financial statement users, preparers, and auditors all said we needed a project to try to help with understanding how to do disclosures in a more effective way.
Some people have thought that perhaps the objective is to reduce the volume of disclosures. That's not the objective of the project. The objective of the project is purely to improve the effectiveness of the information in the notes.
The FASB decided to split the project into two to better achieve its objective. The objective has to be achieved by 1, the board making consistent decisions about disclosure requirements, and 2, the entity has to use discretion in deciding which disclosures are most relevant and material for their financial statements.
The board's decision process is a concept statement for the board so that they have particular guidelines so that they make consistent considerations with regards to disclosure of particular information, and it also limits them on the types of information that's appropriate for the notes to financial statements.
The FASB is testing the board's decision process by evaluating 4 specific areas, which include fair value measurement, income taxes, defined benefit plans, and inventory. The board is also evaluating intern requirements.
So what we expect to see is whether the board's decision process is actually effective at coming up with consistent disclosures from one topic to the other. Is it helpful for the board to go through this process? And ultimately, what we might end up doing is going project by project or codification topic by codification topic to try to come up with a more streamlined analysis of what the disclosure should be required in one topic to another. And that's what we're hoping for in the testing. We're sort of road testing, if you will, the board's decision process.
As a result of this testing, you could see some disclosures that are currently required being removed, as well as some disclosures that have not been required in the past being added, and some changes to the current disclosures.
The entity decision process component is trying to help the entity be more flexible in their disclosure requirements. It's trying to give them the ability to eliminate immaterial disclosures from their footnotes, right? So it's about trying to help them exercise more judgment in how they actually implement the requirements.
It's basically the way in which entities assess what information is material in their circumstances.
Materiality is a legal concept. It applies to disclosures both individually and in the aggregate. It also applies to quantitative and qualitative disclosures. The ultimate goal with materiality is for entities to determine if something is material, it needs to be disclosed in their notes to their financial statements. And if something is not material and they omit the item, it will not be considered an error.
Stakeholders are concerned with materiality because although the concept exists today, they don't currently use it to reduce their disclosure set. Part of this project, they would use materiality in order to really determine which disclosures are relevant, and they would apply those so that they could reduce their disclosures.
We understand that the SEC is also undertaking a review of their disclosure requirements. We are aware of those efforts. Our staff is making the SEC staff aware of the efforts that we are undertaking in the Disclosure Framework project. And many of the constituents said it would be great if the two organizations could work very, very closely together. And we are in contact very frequently about what we are doing.
So stakeholders are positive about the board consistently considering what kinds of information should be included in notes to financial statements, as well as what changes might come from those considerations to the existing codification. They're also enthusiastic about the reinforcement of the idea that materiality is something that they can use to exercise discretion as to what should be included in their notes.
Practitioners have been very willing to help with the FASB staff, as well as certain advisory committees of the FASB have praised the staff on this project.
For the board's decision process, we are road testing it against 4 different areas of the codification. The changes that we potentially make from those will be exposed for public commentary. Once those are finalized and we see that the board's decision process works or doesn't work, we'll adjust it as appropriate and finalize it as a final standard in our concept statements. For the entity's decision process, we're going to be making a proposal to change part of the codification to discuss materiality with respect to footnotes and how to think about that. That will go out for public comment. We'll get feedback from that, and we'll redeliberate that, and that too will ultimately be finalized, but that won't be a change to the concept statements, that will be a change to the codification.